Good afternoon, everyone. Please, can I hear you guys answer me? Good afternoon. Thank you. So my name is Ima-Abasi, Effiong, a quality assurance engineer. I'm so happy to have you guys here today. I'm also happy to be here today. I came all the way from Port Harcourt to give this talk. That's to show you guys how important it is for me to share this knowledge with you guys. So thank you for being here. Like I said, I'm a quality assurance engineer, and I'll be speaking on a topic that is very crucial to modern software development, how collaboration between developers and QA engineers ensures better software quality. By the end of this talk, you're going to understand how this partnership can significantly improve software quality software. You're going to understand how this partnership between QA and developers ensures better software quality and then team efficiency. So we have the following agenda for today: the traditional gap, benefits of early collaboration, practical implementation strategies, impact on software quality, best practices and tools, and then questions and answers. So we are going to discuss what the traditional gap is about. Normally, there's this separation between developers and. Okay, before I go into this, do we have developers in the house? You're a software developer. Can I see your hands? All right. Is there any quality assurance engineer in the house? If you're a quality assurance engineer, can I see your hands? Nobody. So I'm the only person. All right. Okay, so this talk is not only for developers or QA engineers. If you own a business, maybe a digital business, this talk is also for you. Okay, if you're interested in tech, the talk is also for you. If you're a founder or a future founder, the topic is also for you. You're going to learn a lot from it. So like I said, the traditional gap, there is this separation between developers and quality assurance engineer. And I'm speaking on this with experience. I have experience of about what I'm saying now. So developers are usually in one corner, they are coding away, right? While QA engineers are also waiting in another corner, waiting for waiting for code to test, right? So they hardly discuss, they hardly communicate. The only time they get to communicate is when maybe QA is reporting a bug, and that's how they get to talk. Once in a while, once in a blue moon, the communication is not efficient, right? So it's like a situation of two neighbors who hardly talk to each other, right? You know, when you see your neighbor, it's just hi, hi. Sometimes you don't even get to see them, right? Everybody's just minding their business. Okay, so, but there's usually common problems with this approach, developers and QAs being apart. One is late bug detection, right? So when QA engineers and developers are not working hand in hand, you are likely to catch your bugs late. And then when you catch your bugs late, it's going to take longer fix cycles, right? So imagine a situation that maybe you're writing an article, and there's this thing, is it a spell checker? There's something that is checking what you're writing, to make corrections, right? So if you have a spell checker while you're writing an article, for example, right? And then you have a situation when you're done writing your article, then you go through the whole thing to find corrections, find wrong spellings and all of that. Which would you go for, guys? Please, I need an answer. Does anyone else? I need an answer. If you have a spell checker while you're writing your article, when you are done, you then check for errors. Which would you go for? All right. So this is the case of QA and developers. So when you're writing your code and then you involve QA in the process, right from the development stage, right, you're going to catch bugs. In fact, you're going to see problems before they become actual problems. So that's what this common problems with this approach causes. You're going to miss that and you're going to be catching bugs late. And then it's going to take you a longer time to fix. Imagine imagine an issue that you caught while you guys were discussing the requirements of what you are going to build, right? We can quickly make provision for that. Maybe there was no consideration for what has been brought up. We are going to make room for it while we are still having that discussion, right? But if you just go ahead and write a code, write a requirement, and the QA was not there in that process, right? You're going to be catching this issue later on. So what would have taken you maybe 10 to 30 minutes to discuss and find the right way to add it to your requirements, you're going to take maybe, from hours to, let's say, weeks. Okay, something that would have taken 30 minutes, you're going to use about 2 weeks to fix it, right? And then there's usually a miscommunication when QA and developers are apart. Okay, let's say the product manager says we should build what's it called? Maybe a login page for your application, right? Usually, what a user will see is password and email fields, right? But a QA will see more than that. Okay, you're going to test the email field to check, does it accept letters, does it accept password instead of email address. So some stuff like that is what QA will always look out for. So if you just write a requirement, let's build a login page, and it did not involve QA from that process, the developer is going to go ahead to build that, but it's just going to write input field for email address and password. And then maybe when they are done, and then QA comes to test, and we are seeing that when you have the email field, you can put in your password and you can still log in. So that doesn't fly. You're going to have a rework in that case. So there's usually a communication, and I want you guys to bridge this. Then we have technical debt accumulation, right? So because it did not involve QA from the very development process, from the planning process, right? So when QA catches bug later on, you're going to, developers usually do this quick fixes, right? Let it just pass. Let's push it to production, right? So before you know it, there's so many features, so many bugs that we need to come back to fix. But we're just providing quick fixes so that it can fly, right? So we can meet our targets and market it. So I'm going to be, our next agenda is benefits of early collaboration, right? We have the shift left testing approach. So what that means is that when you are building your, or when you're writing your code, and then you involve QA in that process right from when you are there. Remember when I said, when you're writing your article, you're going to have a spell checker, checking things with you, writing and correcting with you as you are going through it, right? So this is the same thing I am talking about here. So you're going to involve your QA, they're going to start the testing during requirement phase, and during this period, they are going to catch bugs and then prevent those bugs from actually becoming bigger problems. Then you are going to have reduced development costs. Then there's usually a shared understanding, okay? So when you're working with developers and then, when QA and developers are working together, there's usually a shared understanding. There's requirement clarity. Everyone understands what is required, okay? If there are confusions, they are going to be cleared out because questions are going to be asked and answers will be provided. Then we have the test mirrors alignment, better estimation accuracy. So I'm going to speak on accuracy, okay? When you involve your developers only, right? By the time they are done, and then QA, like I said, they're always in one corner waiting to test. If you are using that approach, okay, by the time developers are done, and then we come back to test and see that there are so many bugs, and we cannot give we cannot give the go ahead to take this to production, right? The estimation accuracy is going to, I don't know, it's not going to be correct, right? Maybe you agreed to ship these products in 2 weeks, but QA have tested and they found out there are bugs, and this bugs is going to take a longer time to fix. So that accuracy cannot fly anymore, right? And then there's knowledge transfer. When QA and developers work together, you learn developers can learn how QA tests, and then QA can also learn why the developer wrote this code this way, right? And then there are better technical discussions. In my company, I learn a lot from developers. I'm always curious, right? I ask questions a lot. I'll always call them, why is it like this? Why did you do it this way? Do you have any challenge? Okay. So when you listen to them, you are going to understand why this code is like this. And then maybe you can adjust your test approach, right? And then when there's this collaboration, there's usually a very big impact on software quality. So you are going to see that what your estimation accuracy when you want to push your products live, when you want to market it, is going to become shorter. The period will become shorter, right? When QA and developers are working hand in hand, right? There's process improvements, there's better test coverage, faster feedback loops, because they are constantly communicating, okay? And then from the team dynamics, you are going to see increased ownership. There's something I always say to my teammates, right? This product is a team work. Like, the success of this product is ours. So I always preach ownership, accountability, okay? Do it like it's yours. I don't want you to say, hey, you are going to test it. And so you wrote your code and then you did not test it. That's very bad, right? So there's team dynamics where there's ownership, there's better communication, and there's shared success. We're going to discuss best practices and tools, right? There's communication channels. Where I work, we normally have daily stand-ups, Monday to Fridays. We have like 30 minutes to 1 hour stand-up where we discuss blockers, progress, where are you, what's ready, what's not ready. Okay. So when you bring QA and developers together, what you want to do is you're going to provide a communication channels for them to discuss, right? There's daily stand-ups, there's shared documentation, okay? There's so many documents that the QA and the developers should share, right? Including some of them, we add product managers to it to know what we are currently doing. And then there's regular feedback sessions because you have provided a channel for this. And then there will be discussions, there will be feedbacks. There are tools for collaboration also. And my company, we use Jira, right? If you catch a bug, you go to Jira, you document it, and you're going to assign it to a developer to check it out. So tools like that should be encouraged, right? If you want QA and developers to collaborate often, then there's documentation practices. I don't have time to really talk about that. Okay. No. So our conclusion today is collaboration leads to faster bug fixes, better communication, higher quality. It ensures that both teams understand each other's needs and priority, right? So I'm going to go back to our first agenda, traditional gap. Okay. So I'll tell you how things are traditionally done in many companies up to date. Okay. It's normally like developers write the code. Sometimes some companies don't even have quality assurance engineers. our work is to test what you're building. We need to see that it meets users' requirements, right? So some companies don't even have QA engineers, and I wonder how they do that. Okay, they just have a developer write the code, and sometimes they don't even get to test it. That's why I said if you own a digital business, right? Let's say you sell clothes, okay, you have a website where we can go to buy these clothes. And you will need a quality assurance engineer to check out your website to see that all the links are clickable and that routing to the right page. You need to make sure that all your buttons are responsive. So that is our work as a QA engineer. Okay, so we need to bridge that gap now. So let's say on Monday you are going to resume our work. When you go back to your companies, I'd like you to pick one thing that I have discussed here with you today, right? Maybe when you report a bug, instead of just putting it on Jira and assigning it to a developer, you can decide to share a screen with a developer, right? Once you go to Jira to report, if you share a screen with a developer, it will take about 2 to 3 minutes for the person to understand better what you're saying. Okay, English is not. You may be able to speak English, but understanding it, comprehension is really, really hard. So when you are describing a bug, it's not easy for the next person to reproduce it. So if you share a screen with a developer, right, it's going to cut the time short. Okay, and then for companies that do not have quality assurance engineers, I will advise that you start hiring them. Okay, you're going to see a very big difference in your software quality because they are constantly testing, checking out for defects and all that. So thank you, everyone. If you would like to connect with me, I'm on X, formerly Twitter. I'm also on LinkedIn, and that's my email address. You can connect with me. Thank you so much. I'll be taking questions now, if there's any.
Okay. Yeah, so I have a question for you. So the thing is, where I work, as I'm a product manager, and most we do not see the need to have a QA person because, well, sometimes I have to do the work of the QA person. So it would be wonderful to because I noticed that we do not have a lot of QA people here on the in this event, and it would be wonderful to we wanted to share what would I say how it or what exactly or how would I say how do people go into QA quality assurance and the need okay we've talked about a lot of that but yeah how exactly do they go in and why they are different from the product manager because trust me I do a lot of QA a lot because I'm the one developing the PR yeah.
Thank you. I don't really know how to go about that question. I think you're asking two questions, right? You do the work of a product manager and the work of QA from what I have said, right? And then you want to know how they are different. Yes, I'm coming to that. And then if you want to be a quality assurance engineer, how do you go about it? Okay, so I'm going to answer the second one. If you want to be a quality assurance engineer, I think there's a group, Learnable, right? They shared their screen, they spoke about different niches in tech, right? That they're training people on. Quality assurance was one of it. I saw it and I was really happy to see that quality assurance is not something that we see often, okay? Maybe our impact is not spoken about enough. So if you want to go into quality assurance engineering, I think you can reach out to Learnable. That's one. They're offering the course there. Then secondly, you can go into you can use YouTube, right? My story is not a direct one. I did not start out as a quality assurance engineer. Yeah. So I don't really have a roadmap. I started out as a DevOps engineer, and then I started interning at my company as a QA because I wanted to, I was looking for a job, just wanted to get the experience, and then I fell in love with quality assurance, and I got stuck there. So I don't really have a direct roadmap for that. So this other question of what's the difference between the product manager or product owner and quality assurance, what's the difference, right? So I'm going to say that, like I said, QA, our work, like from the name quality assurance, we are out there for quality. We are all about quality software. We want to make sure that what you're pushing to your users, your customers, right, they meet their requirements, it covers their needs, they do, and they enjoy a good customer experience, right? So we are constantly testing your product, your software, right, to make sure that it is excellent, to make sure that they are free from bugs, right? So that is the work of QA, basically. But as a product manager, because we have product managers in my company, I see that what they do is they're the ones that own the products. They know what they want to build, so they are going to write acceptance criteria for that product, right? That's the work of a product manager. Okay, they are basically telling us this is what I want to build, this is how I want it to be, right? So when you do that, and then you write a user acceptance criteria, you push it to the developers code, and then QA test, right? But in this case, we don't want it to be that way developers are coding and then QA would test after. We want to be involved in the process from the very start. So if you go back to your company today, maybe you can, talk to your bosses about bringing in a quality assurance. Maybe you can do it for 3 months and see the difference, right? So if you write acceptance criteria and then QA is testing what you're writing to make sure it meets that criteria, the requirements, you will see that your work is going to be less. There's no way you can do the work of a product manager and still do the work of a QA. I don't see the possibility. That's a lot. Okay. When you're testing, you're not testing it from the eyes of the quality assurance engineer. Yeah. Because that's what we are just there to do, to look at the quality. Yeah. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. My name is Enobong Okusen and I'm a product manager. So I also want to ask, what are the exact tools you use for testing? Like what software do you use for testing?
Okay. For quality assurance, you can actually test manually, right? Let's say you have a website, a web application, whatever, right? You can decide if maybe you can download it, you can go to the website. If you want to test the login page, you're basically just going to add a password and an email address to it, depending on the requirements. And then you check if you can log in, right? So that's what we call manual testing. You do it manually. Basically, the way you just go to Facebook, create an account, stuff like that. You just do it that way. And then the second way, we have automation testing, right? So for automation testing, we have different tools. We have Cypress, we have Playwright, we have Code Presence, and so many other tools. And then you can also, even QAs, we use Postman, right, to test APIs, right? So those are the tools that you use for automation testing. But outside that, every other thing is manual. We do manual testing. I hope that answers the question. No problem.